Hey, there we go. What's up, guys? Welcome over here to YouTube Live. A little bit of a switch up from what we usually do over there on Facebook. Let me say this much before I introduce who's on here with me. There was a spark that lit the fire tonight over on Facebook. Let me just shout out Mr. Brian Knepp down there in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. He had quite a comment during one of our Facebook Live events, and it's one of those things that you experience it and then you have to come on and you have to talk about it. And it's really important that we have this conversation. Of course, sitting across from me is none other than Caden Stetler of Rebel Cause Lancaster and the Rebel Chatter podcast as well. Caden, how's it going, buddy? This is a conversation for sure.
It's going great, man. And you know what? Without even talking to you about it, I'm going to dub this the first unofficial episode of Com Chatter because this is exactly the point of that new podcast, which we will be advertising more soon, guys. But this will be the beta episode kind of for, this is everything we want to talk about. Robin, do you want to take it away or should I? Because I'm just as ready as you, bro.
You know what? Let me say this much. The thing with the Facebook fandom, you could say, or as we call it, is the friendom, is that you never know the conversations that you're going to have on social media. And the big piece for us here at the Podcast Network and what Rebel Cause does down there in Lancaster and what you do, Caden, is so important is that these conversations drive motivation. They drive everything that we do here at the Podcast Network and at Rebel Cause. And I'm going to throw it over to you right away because I feel like this is a conversation that needs to happen. I got pretty heated over on Facebook for any of you who did watch it, but I'm gonna save that heat and I will throw it over to you, Caden, because I think this could end up being quite a conversation.
Brian Knepp basically summed up the entire point of Rebel Cause.
Yeah.
The whole reason that I started Rebel Cause was so that people would have a place to go and they could feel included and knew that everyone there had their back. And I cannot stress how true that is. Yeah. Every single person that I meet through this, and that's the whole reason we call it a friendom. It's not because, we're just trying to be nice and get people involved. It's true. I'm friends with every single one of you that has ever reached out to Rebel Cause, that is part of Rebel Cause. Look at this. Me and Robin Robin is one of my closest friends. And I met him through Facebook, and I didn't get catfished. He's not somebody he claims he is. But honestly, when Brian said that, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I gotta be honest, because that was the entire point of why we started all this, to help people, to make people feel included, and to let everybody else know that there is a group of people out there that care about you no matter what. And we are all just unified behind this amazing thing called Star Wars. And I cannot be more grateful than I already am. Well, I'm sure I'm going to keep being grateful. But, Brian, what you said, man, and what so many people have said recently over this last week has been insane. You left a week ago today, and last weekend was nuts. We got so much done, so much you guys haven't even seen yet.
Yeah.
And so many amazing things. People are starting to take notice of this rebellion of hope, this unity in the community that we are pushing so hard, guys. And that's amazing. And I can't thank everybody enough for being part of this with us, because it's the best thing I've ever done with my life. And I will never stop pushing this message. And I go ahead, Robin. I'm getting yeah.
Yeah. No. Listen. I'm gonna say this is that this cooperation between Brick City and Rebel Cause is not necessarily sparked by, well, partially, but not necessarily sparked fully by Caden and my conversations. It's because of you guys. It's because of you guys, the ones that are out there, that are joining in the conversation, that are showing up at events, that are retweeting and sharing out all the fantastic things that we feel we are doing here at the Podcast Network. And then the feedback that we get back from that is like, you know what? Exactly what Brian said. I come to an event and I feel like I'm being included. I feel like I am a member of the team. And that is huge. That is exactly what we want you to feel. And I said this before on the Facebook live stream, Caden, and it's something that I have to say before we even continue on, is that when we go on social media, Brian Knapp's a fantastic example of somebody who's really positive on social media. There's Gary O'Toole, another fantastic example. Neil Positivity, right over there on Twitter, another member of that friendom. But I'm getting really, really tired of going across social media, Facebook and Twitter, and I'm getting really sick and tired of seeing positive people being put aside because somebody else wants to share their opinion that's not positive. And it just, what ends up happening is that if you're an individual who finds himself looking for positive people and trying to insert yourself into the discussion with negativity, I don't know if you understand, but you're hurting yourself in the long run. You're putting yourself in a position where those who are positive look at you and say, I can't make them part of my friendom. And we want more people to be part of this friendom because that's what Star Wars has given us. That's what you, Lucasfilm, have given us, is that opportunity to now, since 2012, when Uncle George signed that paper and handed it over to you, is to give us that chance to take a step back and say, you know what? It's not about Star Wars. It's about the people around me. This is something that binds us together. It's like the Force. It binds us and pulls us together, and it truly envelops everything that we do. And that's my message, and it's something that Caden and I talk about consistently. Everybody at the network talks about it, is that your job is to find moments where you can insert yourself in a positive way and remove the negativity from that situation. Because the minute you do that is the minute that people start recognizing and start saying, you know what? That's a member of the friendom. That's a person that brings unity to the community. That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely, man. And you know, I'm gonna put out another call to arms for all of you. I kind of heard you talking about it earlier. When you see someone, and not just on social media, because here's the thing: social media, you can say a lot of things, but in person, on social media, when you see somebody being attacked or downgraded or bullied, be that person that stands up. What would Luke Skywalker do? He would stand up, even if, you know, he's feeling a little down on himself, you know, first bit of Last Jedi, but he would stand up for people that are being oppressed, for people that are being bullied. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in this world. And I'll tell you what, I've gone on record and said it before. I was bullied as a kid for liking Star Wars. And that is a big reason. As soon as I was of the age, I was like, you pop a rebellion tattoo on my back and I'm going to get to work. And I could not put, you know, and that's why I founded Rebel Cause, to really put action to that, because I was sick of talking about it. You know, I always loved Star Wars, and I never knew how to make it a part of my life, you know, and that's finally what we're able to do. And I love that so many people are getting involved and being, it blows my mind. You know, just the other day we had the thing for the kid that lost everything in the fire. And literally, as I'm sitting here right there, I have messages pinging in about people donating to it.
That's huge.
It's insane. People donating to us to go to Water Street to help Rebel Cause grow. Because I'll tell you what, guys, we can't do it without you guys. And that is what the friendom is. You guys reach out to us. Just send us a message. Say hello. It is that simple to just drop what you're doing and make a difference in this world that so badly needs it. Because, you know, there's things we can talk about this, political opinions aside. If North and South Korea can get together and shake hands,
yep,
we can make a difference, people. That is a feud. And, you know, other political stuff aside, whatever you think the motives of that, whatever was, there was a conflict that was ended. And that was truly amazing to watch. And it's been going on since before we were all alive. Well, not all of us, but, you know, Robin and I, way before we were alive, since before my father was alive, which that's a long time. Dad, I hope you're not watching. But, we can really, I can't stress it enough how easy it is to, we've all seen these situations where we see somebody that has a problem or somebody that is down or whatever, and we'll look at this person and be like, oh man, I really wish I could do something about that. You can. Okay, just by talking to the person. Hey, if you got a couple dollars in your wallet, I swear to God, I would go broke. I would be anything just to help somebody else. It's just how I am, and there's been times where my girlfriend's been like, hey, maybe not spend so much money on Rebel Cause event or this, that, the other thing, or,
Right.
It's just who I am, and don't get me wrong, she's the biggest supporter of all this, but, I will fight tooth and nail to help people, and I'm never planning on stopping. So honestly, if you're one of those people that, looks at us and you're like, oh, shut up, just stop, because you're going to get pushed aside, and we are going to be the ones who charge through this friendom and come out on top of it, because we are promoting this positive message and showing people, number one, how you should just act as a person. Okay. The community, you should all just care about each other. Look at your neighbors as friends, not people. Oh, I don't want to talk to. No. Unity is community. Without community and without the unity within it, we're lost. And without positivity and love and the force, we are all lost. So Robin, take it from me for a minute. And you know what? I have to walk for a second with you guys, because I literally stopped making dinner to talk about this. So give me 1 second. I got to stir my spaghetti, folks. But Robin, please take it away.
I don't know. I think people want to see you stirring the spaghetti, but that's just what I think.
Oh man, I mean, I can show you guys. I got a little I'm starbecuing here, folks. I got sausage and onion and meatballs all together in the sauce. You know what it is. StarbecuePod.com.
Make sure to check.
Anyway,
no, and let me say this much too, is that the big piece from all of this, and the one thing that kind of frustrates me once in a while is, and it's an overarching piece of this conversation, and why we have to have this conversation, I don't know, because this is why we do what we do. And why is it setting at the same time? Because this conversation shouldn't have to be happening right now with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And with the fans and the friendom. This conversation should not have to happen. People should be wise enough, have grown up enough, and have the opportunity to at least become well educated and find an opportunity to have, and I don't even call it education really. If you have the basic street smarts,
common sense.
Common sense. Just when you see the downtrodden and you see the people who are just at the bottom of the totem pole right now, and maybe they don't seem like it, but there's always something deeper inside of them that's kind of bugging them. You opening yourself up to them specifically and having that opportunity to sit down with them and say, what's going on? It's as simple as that. What's going on? If they don't want to share it, fine. But you know what usually happens in those situations? You open yourself up to somebody else, and you want to become part of the conversation they want to have. It's as simple as asking them what's going on, and if you don't want to tell me now, let's find some time. Let's find some time to have this conversation. And like I said before, Caden, we shouldn't have to have that conversation because people are wise enough, and we live in a world today where every single individual has the opportunity to find a way to interact with each other on a different scale. And I have a feeling with the friendom specifically, and with the fandom more overarching, because of course the friendom inhabits a certain attitude. With the fandom itself, there needs to be a shift in terms of not necessarily the message that one person conveys or the message that we're conveying, because we seem to be an outlet for that continuing message. But we need to have multiple outlets. We have to have an entire group of friendom that extends beyond just what Brick City and Rebel Cause does. And I ask every single podcaster out there right now, this is my call. I've made this call before, and I haven't heard any response yet. And I'm going to say it again. Do yourself a Friendom Week. Find an opportunity to dedicate a podcast that you do for either an entire week or even a couple of days, and focus on a positive message and see what that does. See the response that you get. Start noticing the people that start noticing what you're doing. Because guess what? They usually don't notice it unless it carries a message that fits the life in which they live. And if you're able to successfully do that, if you're able to take that message and push it forward and get those people to listen, and not necessarily develop the same message that we have, but do it in your own unique way. See what happens. Watch the people that gravitate towards your podcast. And I call that on every podcaster to make that change for a couple of days or even a week. And maybe you're already doing it. And bravo to you. If you're already sending that message out there and you're doing it with a positive, I could list 2 or 3 right off the top of my head right now, which will probably be in a separate post at some point here. But the whole entire piece is that my challenge to you right now is to make your own Friendom day, week, or even a couple of days. And give the fans a chance, and the Friendom a chance to speak for what they believe in. Let them address all these concerns and be the spark that lights positivity. That is the message that we are conveying here, Caden.
And, this is specifically to other podcasters, especially newer podcasts. We are the next generation of Star Wars podcasting.
Absolutely.
Okay. You better get used to seeing me and Robin's face spewing out this message, because guess what? It's not going to go away. I'll talk about this if there was nobody listening.
That's right.
And, now is really the time to take the fandom and flip it from where it is with all the negative. It's so annoying. It's so useless. Like get on social media and just crap on something. It is, I don't understand. And, because here's the thing. The great thing is, if you don't like something, just don't watch it. Just don't. Exactly. Hey, if you don't like, all these new Star Wars movies, I love the Legend stuff too, but sorry, guess what? Maybe you're just not a Star Wars fan anymore. You can stop liking something. That's fine. I wouldn't understand why, because, these stories that have come out so far, guess what? Make a lot more sense and are better than 50% of the Legend stuff that ever came out anyway. I want to talk about stupid stuff. The Sun Crusher was stupid. Fight me about it. But,
right.
There were so many things within that old Legends category that were just really silly. It was always fun, but guess what? We all loved it because it was more Star Wars. Guess what? If you aren't excited about Solo, don't go see it. Guess what? You'll never have to complain about it. If you don't like the direction they took with Luke, or you're mad that Luke died, whatever, you don't like episode 8, then don't go see episode 9. Just stop going, because we really don't care about your negative opinions. And I wouldn't even say opinions that if you don't like it, that's fine, but don't be negative about it. We don't care about your negative attitude with your opinions. Everyone's opinion is valid, sure, even if they're wrong, which if you don't like The Last Jedi, you're wrong. But anyway. But, and the funny thing for me is talking to my father and I actually saw an old interview recently. People hated The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, despised it.
And now it's put out there as one of the best, maybe the best Star Wars film. And I can't wait for 20 years from now for people to be like, man, Last Jedi is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I'm already there. Empire will always be, okay. A New Hope is always going to be up here. It's the first one. It's something special. Empire and The Last Jedi, I'm not sure yet. Empire has always been my favorite, but Last Jedi blew it out of the water. And if you don't understand, here's the big message that Star Wars just told us, guys. We're saying the same thing. No matter how downtrodden you are, you can have crazy things happen to you in your life that put you down. But guess what? Even Luke Skywalker came back from that and inspired hope, inspired a rebellion, and put that spark that would burn the First Order down. And I can't push that enough. They're putting out a message that you don't even understand yet. But guess what? We understand it, and we'll explain it all to you guys. Come along for this journey with us. We want you here to be part of this friendom. And guess what? Even if you're not directly involved with us, be our street team, guys. Preach our message out there on the street. Even if you've never talked to us, do the little things in life. You know, the simple things like, hey, you're in line for coffee, pay for the next person's. Little things like that. If you see somebody, you know, even a homeless person on the street, maybe not money. I know some people are uncomfortable with that. Go buy the dude a sandwich, or woman, who knows who it is. You know, it just offer these little things because, guys, the thing that I stress so much, I actually just had a conversation about this with a close friend of mine who's kind of going through, I won't name names, but kind of going through a bit of an identity crisis right now. Mm-hmm. And this person talked to me and they were like, you know, I look at you and you've always known who you were and you have Rebel Cause and you're doing these great things. And I just want to know how you were able to do that, like how you got here. And the truth is, guys, I took a real hard look at myself. And at the time, I wasn't a big fan of the person I was. So I changed it and I took a look at, here's the thing I've said before, guys. The sad truth about the world is we're all going to die one day. And the important thing is to be remembered for the good deeds you did. That is the true way to live on forever. Your force ghost in this world is the legacy that you leave behind. I wake up every day and I try to do whatever I can to make sure that people know that I was a force for love and kindness and positivity. And, you know, it really affects me in little ways, like even simple things like at work when I would normally, a few years ago, have gotten mad and yelled at somebody or whatever. I try to really wrangle that in and think about it first. You know, Rebel Cause is my legacy. And I urge all of you to go out and find yours, because there is nothing better for your soul and who you are as a person than to do something that you truly love, that has to do with something you love, that makes other people feel included, special, happy, and gives people hope. Hope is one of the strongest words in the English language and every language all across the world, because hope can inspire people to do amazing things. And I've already seen Rebel Cause do this. And that's why I will never stop, ever. This message that we've started and that I share with Robin. And it was honestly one of the craziest things to have all these people come together, including Robin. I met Robin for the first time a week ago, guys. And it was nuts. When he pulled up, we all just kind of, him and James, of course, but he pulled up. We all just kind of stopped and looked at each other and started laughing, and everybody just hugged each other. Because that's just, it was crazy. You know, we're all so united through this, guys. And I want everybody to be involved, man. Next Rebel Cause event, I want 100 people there, even if I'm going to be freaking out. I'm going to need to get more lightsabers for trivia, but that's all right. But that's honestly the message, guys. Be the hope and the change that this world needs, and be that spark. Yeah, just be that spark, guys.
It's a fantastic message. Let me leave this conversation off with one last thing. One last thing here. There's one word that envelops everything that we do. Everything, purpose, drive, conversation, discussion, whatever you want to say. There's one word that envelops everything. Life. Life is, in its most simplest form, the foundation of everything that's been discussed here. You have the opportunity to live a legacy and, in conclusion, be able to leave your print on this earth before you go. This is your chance. Every second that passes, every minute that passes, every hour, every single day, that print left behind stays there. That later on, somebody can go behind and go take a look at it and say, you know what? I'm looking at it right now, and I see the legacy. I see the past. But not only do I see the past, that print leaves a future. That print leaves the opportunity for somebody else to say, I want to be like them. They stood up and they said what they needed to say in that print right there. Why can't I leave a print like that? What's stopping me? What's my motivation? It's there. And it can only be accomplished through one thing itself. That word, which is life. And you have the opportunity to take that word and extend it and be able to do with it what you wish. And my call, my final call here, much like Caden said, is to live that word. Find a way to be a legacy and find a way to live it the way that you wish to. And be that spark that lights positivity in this life. Caden.
Absolutely, man.
It's that time of the show, man.
Yeah, sorry. This has been a great conversation. I almost don't want to end it. But guys, if you want to hear more about what Rebel Cause is doing and our message of hope, you can find us at Rebel Cause Lancaster on Facebook and on Instagram under that same name. You can find us on Rebel Chatter HQ on Twitter. That is our podcast. Rebelchatter.com as well. iTunes is where you can find that and all the other great podcasting apps all across the galaxy. And of course, you can find us at the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network.com. And actually, one little thing I want to throw in here. If you guys aren't inspired enough by what we just said, go check out one simple video on YouTube. Charlie Chaplin's The Dictator speech. I'm just going to leave it at that. That is one of the most inspiring speeches I've ever heard, besides, of course, what Robin just said. But that's what I'm going to leave it with. But Robin, please take it away, sir.
My plug time is simple, folks. Everything that man just said from across there, go follow all that. It's not about the podcast network right now. Rebel Cause is what's starting a spark. Rebel Cause is what's starting everything right now. Everything happening in Lancaster should be a motivation for everything that we do here. And it should be what Caden Stetler is leaving as his legacy. And I want everybody to go over there. I want you to follow what that podcast is doing. I want you to follow what Rebel Cause is doing, because that's exactly what Brick City is trying to envelop as well. And is exactly what you, the people of the Star Wars fandom and the friendom, more specifically, need to remember. So please go follow everything that man is doing over there at Rebel Cause. And I'm leaving it at that. Thank you guys so much for listening here. And as we always say, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Always.
Always.